Most people think the mistake is picking the wrong cruise line, and it's not. It's not the ship, the size, the price, or even the food. The real mistake happens before you even hit that book now button. And it's the real reason that a lot of first-time cruises feel disappointing, even when the ship is amazing. Today, we're going to make sure your first cruise feels more like a vacation and not a regret. My name is Shane with Mapbound. Let me know what cruise line in the comments below that you plan on booking, and I'll let you know what kind of cruise to expect. The real problem is people shop cruises like they do plane tickets. They look into the cheapest fare as well as they look into the cheapest possible date. And they do this instead of matching their style with the ship that they have chosen. Two families can sail to the exact same destination on the exact same day, docked even right next to each other, and have totally different vacations. Why? Because the cruise line and ship shapes your vacation. The food, the vibe, the entertainment, the crowd, and even the service style. Also, with the excursions booked through the ship, they can also deem how your day goes on the islands too as well. So the destination is only part of that vacation. When people book a hotel, the hotel really is just where you sleep at night. When you book a cruise, you're going to be on that ship for the majority of your vacation. So that in turn deems how your vacation is going to go. A modern cruise ship has multiple neighborhoods, 15 to 30 dining venues. A lot of them have multiple theaters, water parks, nightclub, casino, spas, kids clubs, and adult-only areas, live music venues, sports courts, shopping, and bars with a lot of different vibes. So it's not a hotel. In fact, it is a floating city. Ships like Royal Caribbean's mega ships feel more like a theme park. They have high energy, huge entertainment productions, water slides, surf simulators. It could feel like Vegas meets Disney, but on the sea. Now, a ship from Celebrity Cruises can feel totally different. They have a more modern design, food-forward dining, quieter deck pools, and less chaotic energy. Same ocean, totally different atmosphere. Let's say two families are visiting Cozumel. Family A sailed on a party-focused ship, whereas Family B sailed on a refined, quiet ship. Family A met tons of people on board, booked a beach club cruise excursion, and they stayed out late at themed parties. Now, Family B had a wine tasting the night before, then slept in the next day and booked a private snorkel charter. And then they came back to a quiet sunset lounge. Same island, two completely different vacations. Because the ship shapes your sleep schedule, your energy level, your social circle, your spending habits, and your expectations. Cruise lines have personalities just like cities do. For instance, Carnival Cruise Line is fun, social, energetic, and value-focused. Now, Norwegian Cruise Line, they focus on flexible dining, modern, and entertainment heavy. Whereas Princess Cruise Lines does more of a classic cruise feel, more of a relaxed pace, and a strong focus on the destination. None of these are any better than the other, but they are very different. Choosing wrong isn't about the luxury level, it's about mismatching your personality style with your ship. Now, there are 4 different types of cruisers. I like to have a very packed and exciting nightlife on a cruise, but during the day, I actually like it to be more relaxed and casual. Now, that is, of course, on a sea day, because when it comes to ports, I've done excursions, I've explored on my own, as well as I've gotten off the ship and then booked an excursion at the port. When it comes to ports, I always do my research on the ports. So far, every single port that I've gone to, I've either got an excursion on, or I self-explored, or if I've already been to a port before and I know that they had like dune buggies, for instance, in Cozumel. My second time I went, I just didn't even book an excursion through the cruise line. I went ahead and booked the excursion when I got off the port and found the company that I already recognized with the dune buggy rentals. And I had to say, it was really fun. The guy took us around and he didn't give us a time limit where we were at the island, other than ship time, of course. But it was a really good time. I highly recommend that. So the first type of cruiser is the relaxation cruiser. These cruisers don't want to have a lot of kids involved. They don't want to be jam-packed full of crowds. They prefer a nice view while they maybe read. They want quiet decks. They don't want party vibes. Now, for these particular kind of cruises, the best fit kind of ship is either a premium ship or maybe a smaller ship. The worst mistake for a relaxation cruiser is booking a mega ship. Because these ships have constant noise, they have party vibes, things are always happening on these kind of ships. Not best for a relaxation cruiser. And then there's the entertainment cruiser. They want the casino, they want the entertainment, the shows, the nightlife, trivia. They just want something going on at all times so they're constantly entertained. And when I say all the time, I mean all hours while on the ship. Their big mistake is booking a luxury ship or maybe even a smaller ship that may not have as much entertainment possibilities as, say, one of the mega ships. And then they find themselves being bored by 9 p.m. Now, for the adventure cruiser, their priority usually is an adventure-packed excursion or something maybe that they can do on the ship that has a little more adventure to it. To these kind of cruisers, the ship is merely just the transportation to get to the destination. One of the biggest mistakes adventure cruisers make is they end up spending extra money on a ship that they're barely going to use. And of course, there's a social or family cruiser. These types of cruisers generally want water slides, a lot more activities, as well as a whole bunch of family memories. When it comes to this case, the ship matters more than the ports or the destination. A lot of times family cruisers want to keep their children entertained while they're on the cruise, and sometimes even have like a daycare so that the family can actually put their kids with the daycare and then they can go enjoy, say, the dinner or the nightlife. Their biggest mistake is choosing the itinerary first and then the ship second. The big thing to remember is the ship is your destination and the cruise ports, they're just like field trips. You're going to be on the ship more. Now, I love talking about cruises. When I talk to other people about their cruises and what they did and did not like, a lot of times I find that they picked the wrong ship. For instance, I had one person tell me that their cruise was overcrowded. They ended up picking a peak family ship. In fact, they were even told that there were over 2,000 kids on the ship at that time. When it comes to booking any trip for me, I always think about, are the kids out of school? Usually when I travel, it's in the spring or it's in the fall. So far, all my cruises have been in the winter, going to warmer climates, but while the kids are still in school. I've also heard people say there's nothing to do on a cruise ship. If somebody says there is nothing to do on the ship, well, they usually probably picked a premium ship or maybe even a smaller ship with not as much to do. One of the biggest complaints I hear is that people complain about the food quality. From the cruises I've been on, there's good and bad in all the buffets. They're good and bad when it comes to the complimentary dinners. So they probably had the wrong expectation for the tier level that they booked. They didn't try like a higher tier or maybe a specialty restaurant, then they really only got the complimentary food. Since the food is complimentary, it's what to be expected. Another common complaint is I stayed sick, bored, or tired. Well, the ship that you picked probably had a daily rhythm that doesn't match your personality. A cruise isn't necessarily bad. It's just that that cruise may not have been what you personally wanted to do while you were on vacation, making the daily rhythm a mismatch. Just keep in mind, most negative cruise reviews come from mismatching the personality with the cruise ship. Think of it this way. You wouldn't book a ski resort if you were looking for a beach destination, would you? So, same goes with the cruise ships. Now you're getting close to wanting to book your cruise. Here are 4 steps that I'm going to give you to make your booking process easier. First thing you got to do is you got to decide the energy level that you want. Do you want a low energy ship? You want to read a little bit, just relax, watch a sunset? Or do you want a little combination of both? Like I kind of like having the relaxation during the day, but once it comes to say like 3, 4 o'clock, then they have a very entertaining, action-packed night. Or high activity where you're just booked doing something, activities everywhere, go, go, go. The whole time you're on vacation, you got something going on. The next thing is decide your daily rhythm. Again, for instance, mine is I like it to be more relaxed during the day. Then I like to eat dinner, go to a show, and then enjoy the rest of the nightlife, maybe even the casino. So this is where you got to decide. Are you going to be an early riser, which I am anyways, regardless of what time I stay out to? Or are you going to be a night owl? Or are you going to enjoy the shows? One of my favorite parts of cruise ships is enjoying the shows after dinner. Not only the main show, but they have like a cabaret a lot of times, or they have like dueling pianos, they have live singing. There's just so much to do at night. That's my favorite part of a cruise ship. Or you're going to be like more of a pool all day relaxer. Once you decide that, you can move on to the next step, which is you got to pick the ship class before the destination. I've booked a lot of cruises with destination in mind, but keep in mind that these cruise ships repeat the same itinerary over and over again, at least for that season. So you can always go back to that island or port, but you can't change the ship that you're on. You're stuck on it for whatever the 14-day trip that you've taken. Then step 4, you want to pick what cabin that you would like, as well as the price that you're willing to spend. Just keep in mind that it could be a cheap cruise, but a wrong fit. And even though it was a cheap cruise, it was a very expensive mistake. Could you imagine you're looking to book a cruise for your anniversary, whether you be retired or maybe you're just a family that wants to leave the kids at home. And as they say, book a family mega ship, they can find themselves overwhelmed with all the crowds, the people, a lot of kids, where I think they probably should have booked, say, a luxury cruise or a small cruise so that they had more of a relaxing vibe, less children. A lot of them are adults only. But the exact opposite goes for somebody who is, say, they're a family with kids, but yet they booked a small ship, but it ends up leaving the kids bored. Or an adventure traveler who decides to book a luxury cruise and ended up just wasting some of their money. This is how small decisions can change the entire vacation. Now, cruise ships aren't a hotel, but like a hotel, they are very limited in your electrical plugins or, say, USB charging ports. So on every cruise that I've been on, I've had to bring a power strip, make sure it's not surge protected, and I make sure it's cruise compliant. Otherwise, the cruise ship might confiscate it from you. On every cruise, I brought this 1B power strip, and I've never had any problems with it on the cruise ship. And believe me, when it comes to starting to charge all your devices, you're going to wish you had one. So you make sure you get a cruise compliant power strip. I put the link up in the description for you. Now, all this can be very overwhelming, so that's why travel agents still exist. If you want somebody to do the stuff for you, I personally have just looked into maybe booking with a travel agent, and so far I'm finding that they may not always be able to find you the best deal, but a lot of times they could always still give you something like onboard credit. So I've decided to use a travel agent for booking my next cruise. A good travel agent doesn't just find cruises, they also specialize in matching your personality with the right ship. They're going to ask important questions like, are you a first-time cruiser? Are you a foodie? Do you like the party crowd? Are you a quiet, relaxing type? Will you be traveling with kids? Are you celebrating anything like a birthday or an anniversary? Because at the end of the day, the right ship does make everything go smoother, whereas the wrong ship will make everything feel off. Price always does matter, but matching your personality with the right ship matters more. So stop thinking of the cruise ship as just your transportation to the next port. Start thinking of them as floating cities with multiple different cultures. And keep in mind, the same destination doesn't mean that you're going to have the same experience. Choosing the right cruise line can completely change your vacation. Thanks for watching. And again, my name is Shane with Mapbound. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Dwell's my website. Hope to see you next time. And remember, travel is life.